when we're dealing with a lot of uncertainty and whatnot, being an entrepreneur means having the energy to innovate and to come up with new ways to go to market with whatever it is that we're taking to market. And as we're finding, how we get our energy really comes, it starts with our mindset. So we'll jump on a whiteboard here. It starts with our mindset. Let me make sure this is full up. Perfect. So having an entrepreneur mindset, there's a model we use, and it's really about driving energy so that we can keep that. How can we get through this? How can we pivot? And so far, just throughout this entire panel, and I've loved every story and every idea. We heard some great examples of some wonderful pivots that sound like they had some tremendous success. So even with the cancellations and with the whole world being turned on its head, we've heard now several different brilliant ways that the entrepreneurial spirit kicked in and we turned on a dime. So I just want to congratulate everyone who spoke before me about how you got through the last several months now, how you're looking to get forward, and what some of the innovative ideas that came out of it. And then what you heard from Nathan is all kinds of to-dos that you can jump in, you can get going. And I want to encourage everyone to be ready to jump in and just make this happen. And so the next model that we're going to go through, it's something I call the point of power. So I'll just write up here, see how this works. It's the point of power model. It's a great way to think about at any given point in time, we've got a choice for how we're thinking. And we can think all over the map. We can think in helpful ways, in unhelpful ways, and we're going to explore what some of those are right now. Let's see here. You draw a circle. So let's say here's our point. This is the now. This is the item. Things happen. COVID happens. Cancellations happen. People get upset. Venues get closed. The world changes. And we're seeing a lot of uncertainty, a lot of inability to predict what's going on as we move forward. We can be above this point or below this point. I want to start with going in below this point. All right. Below this point, we've got, we'll start with B, which is for blame. We've got E, which is for excuse. And we've got D, which is for denial. And you can think about it like this. Let me make sure that went through. You can think about it like this. If at a given point, you're not doing anything, you're just focused on what's going on in the world, you're making excuses for the troubles that are going on, you're stuck, you're laying down, you're not keeping it moving, right? And the first thing we want to work on is pivoting our mindset to where we get the energy and we get the mindset, we get the power to step forward and start doing something about the situation that we find ourselves in. So on that note, we're going to shift up on top of the point here. And we've got O, which is for ownership. We've got A for accountability, or accountable. We got R, which is for responsible. So basically, to contrast it, we can either be below the point in a given situation where we're making excuses for why we're not doing something or things aren't going our way, or we're blaming someone else, or in denial about, hey, we just need to wait it out because things will come back to normal, right? Or we can get ourselves above the point where we take ownership of what's going on. I can do something about this. That entrepreneurial drive gets in. Instead of asking the question, why can't I, right? Why can't I be successful right now? Why can't I hold my concert, hold my series? And shifting to how can I? What can I do to get there? So bringing on that ownership mentality, being accountable, which means that you can measure what you're doing, and being responsible, which means that ultimately you're taking action. You're the one taking action. And just like being in a bed is staying idle and letting the world happen to you, being above the point is having an oar. You own the ship. You've got an oar that you can drive yourself forward with. and you can give yourself new direction. You can steer it. You can pivot yourself. You can look for the opportunities and go after them. And we call this the point of power. And it's a model to keep in your mind as in any given situation, we can find ourselves either below or above. And it's okay. It's okay to be in a place where, gosh darn it, the traffic is the problem here, right? The challenge is being in a situation that it's out of our control is not a situation where we get to decide how do we get it within our control? How do we get the results that we want? So in essence, on the top here, what we're doing is we've got a battery, and our aim is, let me try this here, having fun with the art. The aim is when we're below, we've got hardly any battery, and when we're above, our battery is fully charged, right? Hold on, there's got to be some fun. No, there's not a lightning bolt. Well, that's a bummer. Fun little art here. All right, so essentially we're aiming, we can either be, you shift my thumbs around, we can either be powerful, or if we're below the point, we are powerless. I call below the point victim land. It's when it's someone else's fault, when we're playing the victim. And certainly being the entrepreneur that Nathan talked about is when, no, we are powerful. We are taking ownership, we're taking responsibility, accountability, and we're driving into action. We're starting to use that ore that we're given. And it's like a battery. You're either charged or you're discharged. If there's no way through, if your entire mindset is, why can't I be successful, or why is this all happening to me, and why does COVID have to come along and ruin the big thing that I had going, and strive it? We're going to find ourselves de-energizing ourselves just by bringing on that vibe, that negative, pessimistic vibe. And the goal for us is to always to look for and put ourselves in the community that's doing. That's why I love this panel, is because you heard examples of people that are above the point. They're playing above the point, and when shit hits the fan, they're looking for, all right, what are we doing differently? How do we make sure? I loved Jessica Martin's story of, we're not giving money back. We're finding a way to make this happen. And you saw the perseverance that came out of that, and ultimately the results. And now they've got an ongoing thing, and I love Nathan's question that says, hey, this is a model for the future. And COVID, it was the catalyst that helped us bridge that gap, but it was a catalyst only if we took action and we pivoted our current strategy. So use this model. Hopefully you got some good notes on it, but we aim to be above the point always, as business leaders, as just action-oriented people that want to go out and do the things and take advantage of the opportunities that are for us. And we want to avoid ending up below the point. But it's okay when you are below the point. Just remember that you can take action to get above, and you can do that by getting help, by getting just putting yourself in a community that's above. That way you can take from the energy of others and use that to your own behalf. And just avoid being in environments that are below the point. Because when you turn on the news, you're generally going to end up being depowered and worrying about all the wrong that's going on and all the things that are just hampering. So be careful about how you are getting and maintaining your energy levels. And here's a model that can help you do that. So I see that we're now over 1 o'clock. So I will go ahead and wrap up. But take this, and I just want to encourage everybody. We've got all kinds of opportunities ahead of us, even with the current environment. My heart goes out there for the businesses that were completely wiped off the map, the event centers and whatnot. I'm talking to a lot of those businesses. The good news is that there are ways forward. The challenge is we have to shift our thinking we have to often, in certain industries, we have to let go of how business was done in the past and adapt to how business is going to happen now and in the future.